Did you turn down the RPMs of the fan?
No, you know what it was?
What's that?
Am I supposed to be recording this?
Well, I'm recording, but yeah, ideally, we're gonna talk about it.
All right.
We needed a topic yesterday, and now we have one.
Hey, I didn't have a topic.
I assume.
Oh, okay. But anyways, so you know how, remember I mentioned that the back of the PSU had another switch that I wasn't sure what it
Oh, you were
was?
using the eco mode, the silent mode, or whatever.
Well, no, it was off. Or I was normally using it,
Uh
and it
huh.
was off when I turned it back on yesterday because I was playing with it.
Uh huh.
So all I had to do was flip that back on, and the fan turned off. So I guess it was the PSU fan?
Oh, so okay, that could be. You could be right because the PSU fan, if it's not a good PSU, it can be loud. Yeah.
Yeah. So I turned the silent mode on.
Actually, that one of the telltale signs of a PSU being overworked is if the fan is loud.
Right.
Because normally, like with PSUs nowadays, they don't have a switch like that, but their fans usually don't even turn on.
Oh, I
The
see.
only time they turn on is if like their full power capacity is being used,
Right.
which if you have a 1000 watt PSU, most of the time you're never going to be using all that, so it never turns on. That's why people go overboard sometimes. They'll get like a 1500 for no reason,
Right.
but that's because it stays silent. And so in your case, it could very well be that, oh wow, it's being overloaded normally.
Yeah, that could be true.
So there
So
we go.
I turned silent mode back on and the sound went away.
That's good. I mean, either way, it's fine. It's status quo at this point. So I'm glad that the CPU fan is pretty relatively quiet. Then
Yep. It's been good. I've been monitoring it.
temperatures are normal.
Temperatures are good. So I think we're back up to going. I guess the next thing is just dealing with whatever allows me to turn it on. Like I didn't even turn it off last night.
That's good. That's the smart
I
thing to
didn't even
do.
want to risk it.
Never turn off the
So
computer. God forbid you turn it off and you can't turn it back on again.
I know that's where my head is now. It's like I'm not gonna be able to turn it back on.
Do you want to describe to the audience, to the listener base, what the deal was yesterday and why we're recording on a Sunday instead of a Saturday?
They don't know we're recording on a Sunday until right now.
It's an interesting story, though. Come on, you have to admit. We were all set to do the podcast, and then suddenly.
And then suddenly my computer would shut itself off, which is not a new problem. Had it about a month ago. And it turned out it was, I took it, last time I took it, about a month ago, I took it into the shop and they determined that the thermal paste wasn't applied properly. So they reapplied the thermal paste and it lasted about a month. And then yesterday I went to turn my computer on and kept shutting itself off and it was overheating again. So Raji stepped in this time and we went through things. We redid the thermal paste again.
Dustin redid the thermal paste himself.
I did it all by myself.
And
That's right.
presumably did a good job because, like even squirting it out to be a pea sized or like a rice sized piece is not that easy all the time.
And so we tried it and it was still overheating. So at that point, we figured that the CPU cooling unit, which was a liquid cooler, was busted.
Either leaking or not circulating the liquid.
Yep. And so I went out, got an air cooled CPU fan as opposed to a liquid cooled one, installed it, which was so much fun. Lost the screw and the
That's right. No lighting. That's the problem. You're doing all this
no
in the
lighting.
dark. People don't appreciate how dark
The
it
lighting
is.
in my house, the lighting in my house is so bad.
It's like candlelit, isn't it?
It's just so it's not candlelit, but it's
Victorian era
so bad.
candles, gas
It may as
lights.
well be. It may as well be. It's so bad. All I have to really do is go through the house and put in like stronger light bulbs.
Oh, so that's because you do have probably you have lighting units. It's just they're probably all very low powered light bulbs.
Yeah, they're just ones from whatever the landlord put in when I moved in.
Oh yeah,
So
okay.
he probably just tried to save money and put the
Well, because a
lowest
lot
one.
of
Like they're all low.
people like kind of the warm orangey low lights. It's just when you need to get stuff done, you want like the fluorescent burn your eyes out lights.
Oh, I don't like low lights. My old place, I had 100 watts all over the
Ah,
place.
you should replace them then. That's not a big deal.
Yeah, I should replace them. But I don't want to waste there's light bulbs in there. I don't want to waste them.
Well, yeah, but you can like smash them with a baseball bat, hang
No,
them
yeah, absolutely. That's what I should do.
like a piñata. Light bulb piñata.
Light bulb piñata. Instead of candy, it's just
Glass. Shards of delicious glass.
all over the place. Yeah, that's right. So we put the new fan in, and I went to turn it on, and it wouldn't turn on at all. So we went from the CPU overheating to just not turning on. And now I'm in full panic mode here. We're trying to brainstorm what the possibilities could be that would cause a fan replacement to completely ruin my computer's ability to turn it back on. So we went through a small handful of things. There's only so much I can do. And we made it down to the power supply unit, and I pulled it out just to take a look at it. Put it back in as Igor was looking up for a replacement power supply unit, which I wouldn't have been able to put back in. I would have had to take it in at that point. But, I put the power supply unit back in. I went, you know what, let's just try one more time in case something, was finagled in my inspection. And it turned back on, thankfully. It took me a couple little clicks on the power thing to turn it back on, but it did turn back on.
It was a miracle.
It was a miracle.
A podcast day miracle.
It was a miracle. And so I unplugged it, had to because I took the CPU fan off to look underneath it. Had to put that back on, turn it back on, had to wiggle it a little bit. So we're thinking the issue was some faulty connections somewhere, either at the power switch or it's probably more likely the power supply unit itself, because it's a cheap power supply unit apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And we're back up rocking and rolling. So we're able to have only delayed the podcast by a day, which won't affect our lovely viewer.
That's right. No change to the schedule.
No change to the schedule. And we're happy to be here. And it probably had everything to do with the fact that we were playing Marvel Rivals last night. And, Raji made a joke about Miss Marvel. And, my computer is an extension of me. And that's how I would have handled hearing about Miss Marvel also.
Just completely shut down. Fetal position.
That's right.
But, the incident yesterday did get me thinking about life skills. So there's something that came out of this is I was thinking about it, and like the ability to build a PC. It's not really common, right? I do it once every few years. And, if I need to help somebody out with it, again, it's so very rare because most of the people I know here, they'd build their own anyway. And so ultimately, this is one of those skills which it's nice, it's useful when it's necessary, but most of the time, 99% of the time, it's useless. And that's what I was wondering what other skills we could come up with. Or like, do I have any other skills? I can't really think of any off the top of my head, but I'm wondering, do you have any skills like that?
They're useless?
That are useless 99% of the time, but come in really handy that 1% of the time.
No, I have no skills whatsoever.
No, not at all. But I mean, even like I would argue, let's not call it useless because obviously it's not useless. But even things that you know how to do, but you do so rarely. So for example, fishing. I think you know how to fish.
Yeah.
Because you talk about it, you express it as being a hobby. But I mean, how often do you go fishing?
Like barely ever. Like I don't think I've been fishing in years.
Well, then there you go. I think that's a good example because like I don't know how to fish. I think I tried once when I was a child, but
you just put a worm on a hook and throw it in the next time you're here, we'll go fishing.
But see, that's the whole point, right? Like that's still a skill to have to know where to throw the thing and what areas are good. But things like that. So fishing, okay.
I don't feel like that's a skill though. I feel like that's just a hobby.
It still requires some knowledge. It's not just. It's the same as me saying, "Oh, building a computer is not a skill," because ultimately I'm just buying the parts and sticking them together like a Lego set.
I mean, I guess that's kind of a skill, but I mean, also I don't know if it's like maybe to you it's a useless skill, but it's a skill that you can realistically make money from.
Well, you can make money from fishing.
Well, that's true.
that's not true. An excuse.
No, but you could still use okay, so if you're going to qualify something like fishing, then you could say any sport. Oh, I played soccer when I was a kid. Okay, I have soccer skills, I guess. You know what I mean?
Okay, sure. Well, I mean, to be fair though, that's not even a bad idea. Like, let's say you're an adult and you're like in my case, let's say I was in the co-working space. Sometimes they would ask people "Oh, we need an extra for the soccer game." We're playing amongst friends, and they need an extra. So somebody who's relatively adept at soccer could join in. Whereas me, I wouldn't. First of all, I wouldn't want to, but I also don't have the slightest clue.
Yeah, but again, it's just kicking a ball. You know what I mean? Like, to what level? To what level is? To
Well,
what level
I
can
think
you actually say it's a skill?
I think you're okay. So you're taking it too literally. I'm just talking about just general knowledge of some usefulness. Like here's a recent example. So my dad bought a pair of pants recently, and he needed to adjust it. So he used a sewing machine to adjust it. So the fact that he knows how to use the sewing machine, but he would do this so rarely. Like, I mean, I don't know when was the last time he would have used one.
Right.
Never mind the fact that he actually had to repair the one that he used this time because it was kind of finicky and broken. So that's another skill. But see, that's like, it's things like this. I don't know, it was interesting. Even like firing a gun, like people who go to a shooting range every once in a while who know how to handle a gun. I don't know. I've never used a gun, but I would say that's another example where it's like, well, how often do you actually use it? And yet, maybe in the 1% chance, maybe it is very useful. Who knows?
Sure.
So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to me anyway.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, some are certainly more useful than others too. So, no, I don't know. I don't think fishing's fishing. It's not really anything, I don't think. I don't think I have any real skills that are like, I think a skill, it's got to be something like that's useful sometimes. I feel like fishing's not useful. Sewing, sure. Computer building, sure.
I don't know. Fishing, well, think about it this way. Let's say you need to eat and you're stuck in the middle of nowhere. Knowing how to fish is still pretty useful, right?
But again, I think anybody really, it's like I said, I don't think it's I don't know. I think it's just a hobby. Like, I don't feel like it's a skill. I think if you're like a professional fisherman, sure, maybe you can consider that a skill. But for somebody like me, it's just bait a hook and throw it in the water and wait. I figure it's like the most rudimentary skills where, okay, anybody can do it. I don't know. I don't put it at nearly the same level as computer building or sewing or being able to adjust your clothes, anything like that. Like, that's like, those are skills. Those are what I consider to be skills. I don't really consider fishing to be even in a broad sense of the term. I don't think I consider it to be a skill. Like, I got video games. I guess I could say I got video game skills.
Well, there you go.
That's about as useful as anything else.
Esports level video game skills.
I don't think it's that level, but
not South Korean esports level, but maybe
I can beat Elden Ring. I can beat the final Elden Ring boss in less than 12 hours.
Pre-nerf. That's the other thing.
Pre-nerf.
Right?
That's right. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure if there was something to come along, I'd be like, oh yeah, okay, there's that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like you got to be told something before you recognize that, oh yeah, I know that. I know how to do this.
Yeah, well, exactly. I can change the tire on a car.
Oh, there you go. I mean,
I feel like that's as close to the kind of skill we're talking about as I can get.
Exactly, but that's a perfect example. That's a perfect example because not everybody knows how to do that. And it happens so rarely. Like, how often do you have to do that? And I would argue that, same thing for like changing a bicycle tire. Because that's, again, I can't do that even though I should know how to do that.
I don't even know the last time I've ridden a bicycle, to be fair.
Well, fair enough. But like, if you've ridden one before, you probably could pick it up easily. Whereas changing a tire on a bike might be, I don't know. It's not that easy, I think, unless you know what you're doing. So yeah, there's just things like this. I think it's interesting to think about.
Yeah, it's true. Well, guys, if you have any unique skills, let us know at
send us an email.
Send us an email at
No, it's www@welcome.fm. That's the email address. That's actually the official email address.
Oh, is it actually? Okay, there you go. www@welcome.fm. All right. Oh, there you go. I didn't know we had an email address. So
yeah, you have to
now
have
I know.
One. You have to have one if you're a podcast. That's where the complaints get sent. If you abuse something, you get complaints sent to that address.
We don't advertise it anywhere, though, so who's sending complaints?
It's in the RSS feed.
Oh.
So whatever tool people use, they can see it there. It's just not advertised on the website directly.
Well, that's good to know. We learn something new every day. So, what else do we have today?
Well, you wanted to talk about Canadian inventions. I made a note about this, but I don't remember whether that was a dead end or if you actually wanted to pick up on that.
I think that was a dead end. But I want to talk about French pirate Olivier Levasseur.
Like France French or Quebecois?
French.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So this was in the 17th century, or sorry, 18th century,
Mm-hmm.
around 1730. His nickname was the Buzzard, La Bouche, or La Bouche, the mouth, for his speed and ruthlessness. Anyway, so here's the part I wanted to talk about. He had allegedly hidden one of the biggest treasures in pirate history. It's estimated at a $1 billion today.
Is it One Piece?
It is One Piece. It is One Piece. Hold on. He was being executed, and he tossed a necklace containing a puzzle that led to his treasure into the crowd before he was executed. So he's literally the One Piece pirate.
Goldie Roger.
He's literally Goldie Roger.
Wow. Did he smile when he was being executed?
Maybe.
Because that's the cherry on top. Made a grand speech about how this is the age of piracy. It begins now.
It didn't say whether or not he was, but yeah. So there's a cryptogram.
So that message that he tossed out, the encrypted one, is it freely available or is that also lost?
No, it's freely available.
Okay. So people just haven't deciphered it.
They've deciphered it, but not like nobody's found it off the just.
Oh, so they know
There's a transcription of the cryptogram.
When was it deciphered though? Like, was it one that took a long time, or was it just also in that same century deciphered?
It looks like it was done in the 20th century.
Wow, that took a long time then.
Well, here's the thing: is that there's doubt whether or not it's true.
Oh, okay.
It was mentioned in a book, and there was no mention of this while he was being executed, or around the time he was being executed.
So maybe it was just a fake.
So it could just be fiction.
That's too bad.
Come on, that's still pretty good.
It is, yeah, yeah.
It's still pretty good. Sometimes it's not always true, but it's still fun. But it still predates One Piece by several thousand episodes.
So you're saying that nobody found it. Is it so cryptic that nobody's found it, or is it simply that people have tried and they seemingly should have found it, but it just wasn't there? Like, what's the result? Does it tell you the country to go to, the coordinates, like, I don't know. How does it look, the solved?
It's kind of like Noah's Ark. Every once in a while, somebody comes up and says, like, this is where it is.
Oh, I didn't know Noah's Ark had that reputation.
Yeah, they do.
So where is Noah's Ark normally? Like, where do people say?
Oh, who knows? Everywhere.
How big is it supposed to be? Wouldn't it be pretty visible?
Yeah, you'd think so, but
like it's not like
people are still looking for it.
It's not like the Ark from like Raiders of the Lost Ark or anything, which is human sized.
Yeah, no, it's supposed to be pretty big, but every once in a while, some people go like, "Yeah, this is where it is. I've deciphered the biblical texts."
Oh,
everybody
does the Bible
and everybody
say?
else for 2,000 years is wrong.
Does the Bible
well,
say
they
where
say
it is?
Kinda.
They stashed it in the forest somewhere, hid it under a bunch of bushes.
Pretty much that's about how specific it is. Yeah. But so kind of the same thing, like in as recent as 2023, a historian of Reunion Island revealed that he had discovered something on Reunion Island, a big megalithic structure, and he believes that it's under there or in there. So it's just kind of like, people have like theorized it, but obviously nobody has found it.
I'm wondering if Assassin's Creed Black Flag had any mention of this.
Oh yeah, I wonder.
It must have had that.
When did that game take place, though? When did it take place?
Oh, I guess that's a good point. They still could have shoehorned something in. You're right, though. It might have been before
this.
It might have been before, but it'd be such a waste to like not have something like that. That's so Assassin's Creed like.
Wait, he was in Assassin's Creed.
Oh, well, there we go.
He was in it. He was oh no, he was in something called Assassin's Creed Pirates. I don't even know what that is. Oh, it's a mobile game.
Oh, okay. There you go.
From 2013.
Poor guy relegated to a Ubisoft mobile game.
Yeah, but he left a cryptogram indicating the location of his treasure. So he was a quest in the mobile game.
Well, I mean, still. Yeah, you're probably right though. The era was probably different.
Yeah, let me see. Black Flag. Takes place in... Main story is set in 1715 to 1722. So it was before his execution.
Right before, yeah.
They maybe could have put the pirate in there, technically.
That's
if
true.
It was that important.
Indeed,
yeah.
Yes.
But I guess they decided not to. I guess if it was a few years later, they could have done something like that, though. And they probably would have, realistically. I would have believed it.
Black Flag 2.
Yeah, make Black Flag 2, Ubisoft. Anyways, I just wanted to mention that. It's been sitting in my to mention pile.
It's quite nice. Yeah, it's a very interesting factoid.
Yeah, I think regardless, this predates the One Piece, and
Might have inspired it. Could very well have been an
it might have
inspiration.
inspired it. Yep. Yeah, it's true.
What does the cryptogram look like? Like, what is it, a long thing, or is it something you can kind of share partially?
I mean, it's just a bunch of symbols. I can't share it. I don't really know. I don't even know where to begin describing what it looks like. It doesn't even look like necessarily letters. I guess some of them do, but not all of them. But it's on his Wikipedia page. You can look it up. Olivier Levasseur.
Oh yeah, okay, you're right. It's just a bunch of symbols. I mean, props to the people who deciphered it. I
Yeah,
guess.
really.
I guess
I always
the idea.
wonder how people do that.
Well, I think
Like
the
some of
idea.
these are really complicated. Like where do you even start?
Well, the way I would start is assuming that this was being translated. Well, let's say it's English. I know it's probably not, but let's assume that this was supposed to be something that's translated into English. So in English, E is the most common letter. So if you count up all the symbols on here, and the one that's most common, that most likely will be an E.
Okay.
And then you just go from there. What's the second most common? Blah, blah, blah. And then, you see, you'll pick out that, like, oh, okay, this word is probably the, and then you just go from there. That's the simplest, the most basic thing I would probably do. But there's techniques that go beyond that. I don't think they were very, they didn't put as much effort into trying to keep things hidden back then as they do now. They didn't have to worry as much about people cracking the code.
Yeah. Oh, it even says here in the mobile game Assassin's Creed, pirates. They want to find his treasure. Oh, that's actually the main plot of it. It looks like.
Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, good for them.
Abstergo wanted to find his treasure. They hired a player to delve into the memories of another pirate
That worked with him.
one of his friends. Yeah, before he became a legend.
See, this is when
And
Ubisoft
the
has
treasure
some
contains
clever.
a piece of Eden. I know.
They had some clever ideas, man. For a mobile game, that's pretty good.
It's true. Their spin-off games have always been kind of garbage, though, so I wouldn't...
Well, that's the sad thing. They have seemingly good ideas for them, but then they just kind of go off the rails with the gameplay, or they just
Yeah.
phone it in. It's such a shame. And then they go to the modern games where the story is garbage and the gameplay is, it's fine. It's normal. It's how it should be. I just don't get it.
Oh, well, don't worry. Shadows is going to turn it around.
Yep,
February, Shadows turned around.
absolutely.
Easy peasy. Ubisoft is back, baby.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. 11 out of 10, actually.
11 out of 10. Absolutely.
I don't remember what I want to talk about with Canadian inventions.
Oh, you just mentioned that once, that you saw it on
I
Wikipedia.
vaguely do, but I didn't save it. Yeah, I didn't save it, though.
Because you said something like, when we were talking about potatoes, and you said a certain
because
type
the one
of
potato was made
invented in Canada, apparently.
invented in Canada. Yeah.
When I read that again recently, I was like, what the hell? Did Canada invent a potato? How does that work?
Oh, we also invent... Okay, so here, let's do some Canadian.
Yeah. I mean, it's Canada Day after all.
Well, it's Canada Day. That's
Some
right. Yeah,
It's
happy
Canada Day somewhere.
It's Canada Day every day. Butter tarts. I love butter tarts.
Ooh,
With
butter
raisins
tarts
is-
were made in Canada, invented in Canada?
Yep.
Wow.
According to this, it's a Canadian dessert. So if anybody ever says that, bring a Canadian dessert. What's a Canadian dessert? Butter tarts. Let's find out their history. The earliest published Canadian recipe is from Barrie, dating back to 1900, in the Women's Auxiliary of Royal Victoria Hospital Cookbook. The chef was Mary Ethel McLeod, and the original cookbook and recipe is housed at the Simcoe County Archives.
A national treasure. I remember I'm assuming butter tarts are the things that I'm thinking of, which you could buy at the grocery store.
Yeah, they have like cinnamony, buttery kind of filling in them.
And it's translucent, right, as well?
Yeah.
It's not entirely opaque. It's not like a custard tart.
And no. And typically, they can have nothing in them. Raisins and pecans are the two popular
Yeah, that's right.
kind of stuffings with them. I love raisins. I got a thing of butter tart. There's a type of butter tart that I get. I think they're called Grandma's butter tarts or something like that. That you get them in the store and they're individually wrapped. Why? I don't know, because apparently we're trying to save plastic so that this one company can just make their butter tarts individually wrapped.
Hey, it's a national treasure.
But they're great. They're so good. And they have the raisin and they have the 3 types, but I get the raisin ones, and I almost always have. Remember, I remember actually when you were here. I remember opening my cupboard and you said, "Oh, do you like butter tarts enough or something like that?" I
Oh,
remember you
that's
saying that to me.
right.
I remember you
That's
saying that to
absolutely
me
right.
because I never throw out the boxes. When I finish with them, I just stack them in the cupboard.
I do
Every
remember
once in a while, when it
that.
gets too full, I take out a few.
That's good stuff. So there you go. It's a Canadian thing. Americans won't get it.
That's right.
I do
So
remember
there you
eating
go.
those a lot in school as like a lunch thing because you buy them at the grocery store and you just take one for lunch.
Problem is they vary so much in quality.
Well, that's true. Sometimes they have thicker dough than they should, or
Yeah.
the filling's just not the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah. They just vary. I'm so picky with butter tarts because they just vary so much.
You got to make your own.
It's true, but they probably are a pain in the ass to make.
I don't know. I feel like in pioneer times, people probably didn't.
Yeah, but in pioneer times, they were like, they had the time and they were like, that was when women were stuck in the kitchen. You know what I mean? When women were stuck in the kitchen. So it didn't matter how difficult it was. It was like, this is what you're doing today.
Okay.
So me, I don't got time for that shit. I don't want to be stuck in the kitchen. Okay, here's another one that was invented in Canada. The California roll.
Surprisingly, eh? Wow. California roll, like the sushi, right?
A sushi roll with seaweed wrapped on the inside of the rice. It was created by a Japanese-Canadian chef in Vancouver, Hidekazu Tojo, in 1974. However, it does say there are competing claims to that. What else we got? Hawaiian pizza is obviously a Canadian thing.
Oh, delicious. I love Hawaiian pizza.
Pineapple on pizza.
Best thing in the world.
I love pineapple on pizza unironically. I don't know if you're being ironic or not.
I'm not being ironic. I was surprised when people said they don't like it. I love it. That's my favorite
It's
topping.
true. Me too. Me too.
Sometimes I feel like if people had guns here and they heard me say that, I would be shot. The one thing that they would shoot me for is saying that Hawaiian pizza is the best pizza.
I mean, I like the traditional stuff, but like, okay, so every once in a while I go to Pizza Hut every few weeks, maybe once a month. I'll go to Pizza Hut and you can get these two, like, they're called My Boxes. You get two for $20. And they're just kind of small, like small pizzas, like personal pan pizzas is, I guess, the equivalent of what they would have called them like 20 years ago. And like a side. So I'll get, and it's two for $20. So I'll get one that's normal, pepperoni and that pepperoni, usually like something like pepperoni and bacon and mushrooms or something like that.
Okay.
The side I always get are these boneless chicken things, and I really like those. I probably like them more than the pizza, but they're too expensive on their own, so I get my boxes. And then the second one I always get pineapple on the second one. That doesn't change. So I always like to have my pineapple. So there you go. So Hawaiian pizza.
Uphold the tradition.
That's right. 1962, invented by Greek-Canadian cook and businessman Sam Panopoulos.
And it's healthy. It's way more healthy than just regular pizza. It's got the
It's
pineapple.
got fruit in there, obviously.
Vitamin
exactly.
C.
Exactly.
You get two vegetables/fruits on a pineapple pizza. You get the tomato sauce. And you get the pineapple. It's perfect. You get all the food. You get all the food
Pizza
groups.
gives you all the food groups. Pizza is the healthiest single thing that you can eat because it gives you all the food groups. You got the grain from the crust, you got the dairy from the cheese, you got the fruits and veggie from the tomato sauce, and typically you got the meat from the pepperoni.
Exactly.
So
this is why Italians are so healthy.
Exactly that. What else do they make? Peanut butter. Canadian chemist Marcellus Gilmore Edson patented a way to make peanut paste in 1884.
I want to know why, though. Why did he?
Because people just do things.
No, but it's just interesting to think. Like, why did he want to make peanut butter paste? What was the experiment he was running? This is a chemist, apparently, that's making it, right?
Just for the production of candy.
Okay, so it was for the purpose of eating it. It wasn't just like for some other weird reason. Like, oh, I want to make a new type of glue.
No.
I love peanut butter, though. Peanut butter is delicious. My favorite peanut butter is the unhealthiest peanut butter because I don't like the one that's like liquidy unless you mix it. I hate that. I prefer the one that's completely drenched in palm oil or palm seed oil or whatever garbage oil people put in there. I love it because I want my peanut butter to be just like fake. I want it to be as artificial as possible, but taste like peanut butter.
Okay. That's fair. I personally do not like peanut butter.
But you like Reese's, don't you?
But I love Reese's, probably just because of the sugar. So
Well, it's definitely a very sweetened peanut butter in that case.
it's kind of like oh, I don't like tomatoes, for example, but I like ketchup or tomato sauce or whatever. Probably because there's
a lot of sugar in there.
a lot of shit. Well, it it changes the flavor. Yeah, you always do something to those that change the flavor. Ketchup, there is sugar in there, but yeah. Yukon Gold potato, invented by Gary Johnson, 1966.
So that's the potato. So I wonder, what does it mean to be invented? Like, did he combine two different types of potatoes to give birth to the Yukon Gold?
I mean, that's usually what it means when they invent something. They usually change the plant or something to create a different, flavor of potato. He set out to breed it.
Is it called Yukon because was it created there, or just because he wanted to?
No, the guy's from Guelph.
Just wanted a nifty moniker.
Oh, because it's golden, so it kind of looks like
the Gold Rush gold.
Yeah. Bright colors and distinct flavors. So he wanted to make a potato that was similar to something they made in the Peruvian Andes, but he wanted to make it bigger and smoother in shape, similar to the potatoes that were being grown in the Southwest Ontario. So they did their little crossbreed stuff, and they made the Yukon Gold. The early name for the cultivar was Yukon for the Yukon River involved in the Klondike Gold Rush. Some other people just adding gold to describe the color and appearance.
I wonder if someday they'll ever make a potato that's perfectly spherical. Wouldn't that be strange?
They have perfectly spherical anything.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be strange if they can genetically modify something until that point where literally can you imagine can you imagine if you go to the grocery store and everything you can buy, whether it's an apple, a potato, an onion, anything, it's a perfect sphere?
That would be weird. That would be weird.
That'd be amazing. You buy a banana, it's a perfect sphere.
That would be weird.
Somebody should make a sci-fi movie where, let's say it's the distant future, and those are the props in the grocery stores. Everything else is the same, the usual day to day. But for some reason, the supermarkets all have spherical items, fruits and vegetables.
There you go. Why not?
Man, that'd be amazing. Or cubes, if it's easier, make a cube. So it's like you could stack them.
Yeah, do cube. That'll be easier. Yeah, that'll be easier as cubes. Spartan apples in the same vein. I don't really know much about apples, so but there's a type of apple we did. 1936, we did Pizza Pops. We talked about Pizza Pops a couple.
Oh yeah,
weeks
so
ago,
Pizza Pops are the crescent shaped. I looked it up after.
Yeah, they're the crescent ones.
They're the disgusting
I'm looking
ones
at it right now. Yeah, they're disgusting ones, but Canadians made them.
That's
so
right.
There you go.
So if you don't like Hawaiian pizza, you won't like these Pizza Pops.
You will not like the Pizza Pops. That's right.
Wait, did they ever have different flavored Pizza Pops, or was it always just the usual stuff in them?
Well, yeah, no, it was like 3 meat or pepperoni and cheese or just cheese or deluxe.
Well, they did have different ones, yeah. I wonder if they oh, you know what? I think they did have a Hawaiian one as well.
Oh, they might have. So that's kind of some of the more, ones that cheesies. They also made Canadians have also made cheesies.
What are cheesies?
Like the cheese puff snacks.
So like Cheetos?
Yeah, kind of like Cheetos.
Oh, but Cheetos is an
was...
American brand, I guess.
Yeah, I guess we made what they actually are.
The dirtiest treat out of all of them. It sucks because they're delicious, but they're the messiest thing.
Actually, I think these are actually the crunchier ones. Do you ever have the crunchier ones?
The crunchier ones. I mean,
crunchier Cheetos.
Yeah, but aren't they crunchy? All of them?
No, but typically Cheetos are kind of puffy and airy.
No, Cheetos are supposed to be kind of crunchy.
No, well, they're crunchy, but they're puffy and airy. They're bigger.
Yeah.
Well, no, these Cheetos are small and. What are the ones that are puffy and airy?
They're just puffed up Cheetos.
I thought that was the default.
Because I like when they're harder. Because when they're puffy, they're they go stale more quickly as well.
Interesting. I thought the puffy ones were default, but I don't think they are. So there you go. So cheesies. So we did cheesies too. So that's
Whoa, hold on a second.
What?
Deliciously crunchy baked cheese snacks. Cheesies are high protein, have no or low carbs or sugar, are vegetarian and even gluten free. They're so healthy.
There you go. Next time I'm in the store, I'm gonna try to get cheesies. I don't know if I've ever had cheesies. Well, maybe I probably have, but I don't really look at the difference. I'm gonna try to get cheesies, not Cheetos.
I wonder what's more healthy is like having a bag full of cheesies or a block of cheese.
Probably a block of cheese.
You think it's healthier to eat a whole block of cheese as opposed to just a bag of cheesies?
I mean, we're not talking in one sitting, but yeah,
No, I'm
absolutely.
talking one sitting.
No, that's fucked up.
I can eat a bag full of cheesies or Cheetos in one sitting, but eating a block
Yeah,
of
but
cheese.
can you eat a block of cheese in one sitting?
You could, but
be
it's
nasty.
probably not good. Yeah. You shouldn't do that. But that's why I'm
No,
saying
it probably is not good.
It's probably healthier to eat a
it's
bag
probably
of
better-
cheesies.
No. It's definitely healthier to eat the block of cheese, but
It fills you up more.
well, no, the block of cheese is gonna like block you up.
Wow, that's why you eat the cheesies.
Like it's gonna be healthier for you in terms of like nutritional value, but not necessarily what it does to your insides in the immediate future.
Okay, fair enough. So basically what you're saying is you gotta offset it with the cheesies. You eat the block of cheese and the cheesies all together. You take a bite of the block of cheese
No,
and you
I'm not
scarf
saying
down
that.
some cheesies. Take a bite of the block of cheese so it becomes a layer, and
There's
one
zero
will
part of
push
me
the
that's saying
other
that.
through your intestines.
Nope. Nope.
No, I think you're right. I think you shouldn't eat a block of cheese all in one
Don't eat a
sitting.
block of cheese in one sitting. But
Unless you're
if
doing it
gonna
as
go
a
to the
challenge.
store, no. But if you're gonna go to the store and you want the healthier option, you can only buy one that you're gonna eat over a few days. The block of cheese is better.
Someone on Twitch should buy those American cheese slices. Just buy like a bulk load of them, like thousands or whatever. And for every subscriber they get on a 24-hour marathon stream, they have to eat a slice of this American cheese.
Streamers don't do 24-hour marathons anymore.
Well, whatever, like 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, I don't know. It doesn't matter. The point
No,
is
they do subscriber thons where every subscriber adds to the time, and then they do like 3-week-long marathons where they actually sleep in
you
between.
talked about that. You talked
isn't
about
even
that.
real.
But that's
Yeah.
I don't care about that. I'm talking like I'm going old
I
school.
know, but nobody does what you're
I'm
suggesting.
going
That's
old
the thing.
schools, eating American cheese slices to get subscribers and hoping that you don't suffer from some sort of cardiac arrest.
I mean, I use the cheese slices when I make grilled cheese.
Nothing wrong
I
with
do put
cheese
real
slices.
cheese on top, but I use cheese slices as
Yeah.
the base.
It's all good.
It's just easier than keeping blocks of cheese around, and they do last like infinitely longer.
And you can use them as tiling. If you're low on tiles, you can tile a wall with them.
No, that's not true.
They're shiny like bathroom tiles.
They are shiny like bathroom tiles.
You imagine tiling your shower with them?
Don't do that.
Yeah, but you get hungry during the shower. You just peel one off. You eat it.
Nope. Don't do that. Anyway, so that's pretty much all of the unknown. I think that's the more surprising ones. Obviously, we did things like poutine and beaver tails and things like that. Yeah, so maybe next time we'll look at some of the other categories. There's a lot of categories here. That was the food and agriculture.
Good stuff. Canadians have done a decent number of things.
We have. So it'll be interesting to see what else is further down the list in other avenues. On that note, it's time for our movie review.
Yep. Did you watch it?
I watched it, 8-Bit Christmas, starring Neil Patrick Harris and some kids. What'd you think?
I thought it was all right, but I much prefer Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger if we want to go that
They're
route.
not even the same type of music or the same type of movie.
Well, no, but they are. It's about a kid wanting a toy for Christmas, basically, right? I know they're...
Yeah, but one's about the kids doing weird
Yeah,
stuff, and the other one's about Arnold
they
Schwarzenegger
unraveled-
beating up Santa.
They unravel differently. He didn't beat up Santa. Well, he beat up Santa, but he beat up he played a superhero action figure while beating up a superhero action villain. It was a whole thing. I'm not a big fan of Christmas movies in general. So, for example, like Jingle All the Way is pretty much like my limit in terms of kind of sappiness.
Okay.
And other Christmas movies would be like Die Hard. Those are the types of Christmas movies I like.
Okay.
But 8-Bit Christmas, I thought was all right. You know, it was one of the least egregious ones when it came to being sappy and all that stuff. It was fun.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, Christmas movies don't have to be sappy. I just find
They're often sappy, though. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
They often go to the lengths of like, oh, it's all about family. It's all about this. It's all about that. Which,
Well, yeah.
like I get it, but it gets tedious and repetitive after a while because you know what's coming. You know exactly what's going to happen.
So the movie is about a kid who is trying to get his hands on a Nintendo NES system. and the lengths he goes through against his parents and other kids and all that kind of stuff. How did he end up getting the Nintendo afterwards? He just worked for it, right?
Yeah,
Wasn't that what it was?
That
He
was
worked
a
for it.
stupid ending.
It was okay. So it was so much How I Met Your Mother that it's not even funny, because Neil Patrick Harris was in it. The story was told. The story was told and narrated by an adult about a time in the past, by Neil Patrick Harris. So instead of Ted Mosby being the narrator, it was Barney. And then the fucking end of the movie had nothing to do with the entire story. So,
I mean, they learned the true meaning of Christmas, I guess. That's the idea. But yeah, it was disappointing. The fact that they go through all this effort to try to get the Nintendo, and they're so close, then they lose it in the end. And he doesn't end up getting it. He gets a fort built by his dad instead, which is great. But ultimately, the Nintendo that he starts the story talking about, he gets it just by working later on during his summer to get it.
during the summer.
So it's like a rug pull where you think like, oh man, that was a really cool story and they got it in the end. It's great. But no, that's not at all what ended up happening. And I read something in one of the reviews. They really highlighted this point. I also thought about it at that point. He loses the Nintendo, right? He drops it in front of the moving bus. The bus runs over the Nintendo.
And then it explodes, yeah.
So all that money that he used that came from the twins that sold their baseball cards and whoever else pitched in, all gone. And nobody ever talks about it. Like, what happened? I mean, did they get their money back?
That's true. I'd be super pissed. I'd be super pissed if I gave money to somebody from my baseball cards and they end up friggin' slipping on the ice.
After being warned about the ice.
Yeah, and dropping it. And getting it, and the item getting crushed that we went through all these links for.
It's crazy.
I will say some of the side characters were a little interesting. That weird kid, I was like, okay.
The kid that vomited to keep everybody distracted. He did a good job. SpaghettiOs.
I thought that was solid. I thought that was pretty funny. And I like the bully. I thought the bully was pretty funny when he was doing the King of the Hill stuff. And I remember playing King of the Hill on the playground when I was a kid. And
oh, that's actually a game. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. We'd find a big snow pile at school, usually when we were waiting for the bus, and we play King of the Hill, where one person gets on top and just keeps the other kids. We didn't do it like fucking grabbing them and choke slamming them down the mountain, but like they showed in this movie. But it was that was a real game. I remember playing it, and it got broken up by the teachers in like 5 minutes flat because they don't like that kind of stuff realistically.
And it's interesting though, because in the movie, when they show that, I always feel like the way the movie's being told, it's always from the perspective of the kid with how they see it. But probably if you look at it, objectively, it was probably exaggerated. So like all those things you're saying, the choke slams and so on, it's probably just from his imagination that it was actually happening, but it was probably way more toned down in real life.
Probably.
And it was just a bigger deal when they were experiencing it.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they've done it, they do it in a few other places where it's exaggerated what's actually happening.
Yeah. But so I remember that, and so the one thing that bothered me the most about that movie was the fact that kid looked nothing like Neil Patrick Harris.
Well, because we know what Neil Patrick Harris looked like when he was young. He played Doogie Howser.
No, but it doesn't even matter. Like, no, ignore that. Who cares? Ignore that. There's no way that kid grows up to have the face of Neil Patrick Harris. It's not a thing. There's like no, ignore what you know about Doogie Howser, whatever. There's no way that grows up into Neil Patrick Harris. They didn't do a very good job at casting the kid. Now, what I'll say is he looked like, this is all I could think of, like they should have just cast like Patton Oswalt as the dad, because that's who he looked like. He looked like Patton Oswalt.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's what it reminded. I was like, put Patton Oswalt as the dad, and you're solid, but not Neil Patrick Harris. So that bothered me throughout the whole movie. Usually, people do a better job at casting kids when they're tying them to adults, but I thought this movie was pretty atrocious.
I mean, they probably just did what they could. They I feel like they didn't have many options to work with. Maybe they had some contractual obligations to meet. It didn't really bother me, though. I'm usually not bothered by child to adult transitions.
I always find casting to be very important.
It is in some cases for me, but when it comes to this, for some reason, I never really care. As long as they do a convincing job of telling the story, I don't really care what they look like.
Yeah, fair enough.
Even like, I mean, to be fair, like even How I Met Your Mother, it's Bob Saget, right, telling the story. I never thought that Bob Saget was Ted Mosby from the show.
Well, because you don't. But the thing is, with Bob Saget, like you can say, "Oh, Bob Saget was a bad casting choice," but you never see Bob Saget.
Is it true? You never see him?
No, you never see him. So you're never going to be able to say like, "Oh, there's no way Ted Mosby as an old man is Bob Saget." You can say the voices don't match because they really don't. But
Yeah, which is weird. I don't know why they did that, but whatever.
well, yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't just have Ted Mosby.
Yeah,
the
wouldn't
guy
it be
who plays Ted
easier?
Mosby narrate it. Yeah, yeah, because it doesn't like people's voices don't change. Like between a kid and an adult, sure, but between 30 years old and 50 years old, your voice doesn't change like that. So, anyways, King of the Hill. I think this is an easy one. You're on the what the hell's that movie? I'm never gonna
Pump
remember
up
what
the
that movie's
volume.
called. Pump up the volume.
With
All right,
Christian
pump up the volume
Slater.
versus 8-Bit Christmas. Yeah, with Christian Slater.
I mean, one more thing. I did think the dog getting crushed. That was an interesting scene.
Yeah, that was. The Power Glove part. Okay, so there was that part where they go. The guy had the Power Glove, and then there was a line, and it was something like, "Nobody anticipated the reality of the situation," and I was like, and I said out loud before the line even happened, I was like, "What? That the Power Glove sucked?" And the next line was, "The Power Glove sucked." And I was like, "That's good. That's funny."
No, that was a good moment. And the fact that like he did lose ultimately while
Yeah.
using the Power Glove, I'm glad that they at least understood that yes, it was bad.
Yeah, and then that's what caused him
To kick,
he did the flying kick towards the TV.
which again, this is another point of like, well, okay, it's exaggerated from the kids' point of view. But yeah, like the dog gets crushed. The dog doesn't die, surprisingly, which is just baffling to me. Those TVs are horrendously heavy.
They were heavy. Yeah.
And like it's shards of glass, like actual glass. It's not an LCD screen or something. But that whole thing, like the rich kid inviting them, 10 at a time or whatever the limit was, that was interesting. Because I feel like I've never experienced that, but I think a lot of people had that situation in their neighborhoods.
So I've never had that kind of situation in my neighborhood. I always had video games, right? But I had like the opposite.
You were inviting people.
No. Like I remember it was like the 5th or 6th grade, and I remember bringing like a Game Boy or whatever, Game Boy Advance, whatever it was at that time, to school one day, and suddenly my best friend in that class stopped talking to me.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Jealous much?
And that's what it was. I found out later on. Like eventually I was able to finally talk to him, and he was jealous that, I always had the video games. And so kind of the opposite experience,
I mean, I imagine both situations are probably like, yeah, when it comes to friends, it might be more of a jealousy situation. But when it comes to like in this case where they're not actually friends with the rich kid, it's one of those friendships of convenience or benefit.
I mean, a lot of people I guess it would make more sense that the Nintendo was rarer in like the 80s and all that, because I remember a few of us had Game Boys and all that, and we'd bring them into class and do the link cable stuff and like in the Pokemon and all that kind of stuff. So like it wasn't rare by any means in my school, in my class. But in the 80s, like yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it was new.
There's a decade difference, you could say, between when you were doing stuff versus when those kids were doing stuff.
By the time video games were, a thing in my grade, like, they were a common toy. They weren't a rarity and novelty like in the 80s. Like I said, what year they said that was 1988, I think. So yeah, I thought, yeah, that's another thing. I was able to draw that, not parallel, but perpendicularity, I suppose, between my situation and that. That's kind of why I like, I'm not a big fan of these kind of movies. Like this movie wasn't really anything as far as I was concerned. Kind of in the lower half of the movies we watch on this channel, on this podcast. But sometimes I like watching these kinds because it makes me think back to my childhood and finding finding the parallels. So
Yeah, finding the similarities and the differences.
similarities and all that, and remembering that, like I said, the King of the Hill and even the shopping malls being busy. Like we were talking about the shopping malls yesterday.
That's right.
How that was kind of busy on Saturday, but
It was
usually it's like
packed.
dead.
People pushing each other to get through. The toy shelves just empty. Oh, I did like this. I like the Cabbage Patch Kids thing.
Oh yeah,
The fact that they went to what's his name, David Cross, or
yep,
yeah, he was dealing toys out of the back of his car under a bridge at night, and he was selling these like they're probably real Cabbage Patch Kids, but like problematic Cabbage Patch Kids. With not exactly the way.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I didn't really pick up on that they were like problematic, but you're right, because they wanted a redhead with freckles, but
he didn't have all the
redhead
selection.
didn't have freckles, and they ended up with a blonde with freckles.
Yeah, they didn't have the selection necessary. At first, I thought he was gonna rip the hair out, put the other hair on top or something. They didn't go that far, but yeah, that was interesting. Because that reminded me of parts of Jingle All the Way. That was definitely reminiscent to that, where it's like trying to get a counterfeit toy to accommodate for that.
Yeah, that's true. So that's why I like those. That's why I like these kind of movies, because it just kind of reminds me of certain things in my childhood, which is interesting. Anyway, step up the volume or this.
Pump up the volume.
Gotta put it your best.
Pump up the volume. It's still pump up the volume. I don't think anybody's gonna top pump up the volume.
Somebody will top it eventually.
Maybe, but so far it's going pretty well. Surprisingly,
it is going pretty well. Yeah. And for me, I'll stick with Beautiful Boy. All right, so we got here's our next movie. It's my turn to pick. We're gonna do one more holiday movie because it's still the holidays by the time we hit our next podcast. And here we go. Our next holiday movie is The Princess Switch.
The Princess Switch.
Princess Switch.
Sounds like a very manly movie.
Yeah, I can't wait. Christmas romantic comedy from 2018.
2018. All right, good year. That was Beautiful Boy, wasn't it? So it must be good.
Yep. The film's concept of two people who look identical running into one another and switching places. So it's kind of
same story that Hollywood keeps telling over and over
Prince
again.
and the Pauper. Yeah. Vanessa Hudgens. Oh, it might be even like rich girl and poor girl switch places.
So it is Prince and the Pauper.
Yeah.
Richie Rich and
so
the other guy.
Yeah. Vanessa Hudgens in the lead. I recognize the name, but I couldn't tell you what she was in. Oh, High School Musical. Okay. Whoop-de-whoop. Sam Palladio.
How is this a Christmas movie? It happens during Christmas?
Christmas, I guess.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah. It's Die Hard. Sorry, you didn't get Die Hard, but
I know. I guess I might like this one more, though, because if it's just taking place during Christmas, it could very well be better than just like a Hallmark movie. Because that was my fear, right? Oh, we're just going to get one of those crappy Hallmark films.
Yeah. Let's see. Release reception holds approval rating of 67% based on an average rating of 5.6.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit low on our scales.
Yeah. It's not going to be great. It's probably not going to be great. Also doesn't really have anybody famous in it other than Vanessa Hudgens.
Yeah, but that might be a good thing. You might be drawn into the acting.
That's true. I don't know if I'm not going to hold my breath on that, but you might be. You might be right. All right, well, that's it. Princess Switch is our last holiday movie of the year.
Bit of a downer, if you ask me.
I know, right? I was hoping I was going to pull fucking Santa Claus or something.
I was hoping, honestly, that there's a movie that I saw listed there when I was, a while ago when I was looking on that webpage. It's called Violent Night, and it has...
yeah, here it is right here. Yeah.
David Harbour, the guy from Stranger Things, and it looks fascinating, man. I want to watch that. I'm gonna probably watch it just because it's about Santa killing a bunch of hitmen who try to like kidnap or take a family hostage.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I watched this.
Looks amazing. I mean, David Harbour playing a Santa Claus is also something to be seen, I think.
There you go.
He does not look like a happy-go-lucky kind of Santa Claus.
It's true. Well, unfortunately, we didn't draw Violent Night, so fine. It could be in the... But to be fair...
It could just be a regular movie we draw. That's right.
I was going to say, Christmas movies can be in the regular movies, so...
That's why I'm kind of hesitant to watch it, but I might just watch it.
Word of the Fortnight. Next week we'll do Word of the Year, but... Words of the Year. But this week, let's do your Word of the Fortnight.
I got a pair, actually. They pair nicely, in fact. So the first word is discomfit. It's a verb spelled discomfit. It's not discomfort, discomfit. And it means to make confused or upset. And my example is the word discomfit discomfits me.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the first word. And then I thought, like, oh man, okay, well, there's discomfort and there's comfort. I wonder if there's comfit. And there is comfit. It's a noun, comfit. It is a candy consisting of a piece of fruit, a root, such as licorice, a nut, or a seed, coated and preserved with sugar.
So discomfit and what was the candy?
Comfit.
Oh, comfit. Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah, I just thought, oh, well, I'm curious. And yeah, there is such a thing. But yeah, it's the type of candies where it's like a chocolate covered, or not chocolate covered, but like, those ones that are like multicolored almonds. They're covered in something, some sort of frosting, hard frosting. That's an example, I think, of a comfit.
Oh, I see. So pretty much candied.
Yeah, candied stuff.
Candied fruits, nuts, seeds, or spices.
Because I just know, like, my parents often have these almonds that are covered in some sort of like hard, sugary thing, which is exactly what this is referring to.
Yeah, okay.
I just didn't know what they were called, but there we go, comfits. That's what they are.
So technically, here we go. Technically, almond M&Ms are comfits.
Correct. I mean, to be fair, even just
peanut
M&Ms,
M&Ms, whatever they are. Yeah.
Almond or peanut M&Ms, because I mean, it doesn't say legume is one of them, but I'm sure you could argue a peanut is among these things that can be covered.
Yeah.
So yeah, M&Ms are comfits.
Okay.
It sounds very posh. You could tell people, oh, I enjoy comfits for breakfast.
Well, I don't, but all right. There you go. Interesting. 2 words. That's good, because next week you get none.
Yeah, that's fine.
Next week we're going to do our words of the year according to various dictionary publications. I've already kind of seen some of them, and they're not as good as they were last year.
Not going to riz us up this time, eh?
Not going to... Was Riz one of them? I thought they were all AI. Was Riz one of them?
Riz was one of them.
Riz might have been an outlier one.
That was the only one that wasn't AI.
I was going to say, one of them was... Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, you're right. One of them was not AI, that one. Yeah, that's right. So, I've already seen some of them. They're interesting. So, we'll go over that next time. All right, here we go. It's Pokemon time. Pokemon time. We are rating Pokemon cries of legendary Pokemon in Scyther. We're into the second round. Well into the second round. And here we go. Do 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 do. All right, here we go. This is 45, round 45 between numbers 28 and 92. If you want to see what Pokemon we don't know. If you want to, we don't know what Pokemon the cries. We're just judging them on the cries. If you want to see what Pokemon they belong to, you can go to tot3.welcome.fm and match the numbers up with the Pokemon. We are not going to know until the end, though. All right, here we go. 28 versus 92. Here's 28.
Crystalline, very nice.
Crystalline, just like all the other crystalline ones.
Sounds very similar to one we already heard, but it's new. So I don't know.
That's a new one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Interesting. And here's 92. I do recognize that. I remember that one. I don't recognize it, but I remember that one. Very bubbly. So which one do you think? 28 or 92?
No, I like 92.
Springboard.
I like the springboard, the bubbly springboard. Yeah.
Yeah, the bubbly springboard. That's what it reminds me of. Yeah, I'm going to go with that also. All right, here we go. 46. 12 and 76. 12.
It's like something revealing itself. Like in a
True,
video game,
yes.
you have a sound effect that is a new room being revealed, a secret room.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. Yeah, the Zelda sound, yeah. All right, here's 76.
Oh, yeah, I like this one. This was the garbage truck.
Oh, was this the garbage truck one?
One of the garbage trucks, yes.
Oh, okay.
It's like a construction vehicle of some sort doing something.
Yeah, I like that one. That one's, deep kind of roaring. Not even really roaring, like a throat roar.
Mm-hmm.
Kept his mouth closed.
I like the deeper ones.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you on that. All right, there we go. So 76 taking that one. All right, 47. Here we go. 21 and 85. Here's 21.
It's just like a gunshot. That's
Yep.
it.
Interesting. All right, and 85.
Oh, this one's good. I don't know. It's one of those situations where the gunshot is really funny because it's so short, but 85 is so like it's just good. Just the fact that it's like a horror movie sound effect.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's like so 85 is what's playing, and then suddenly the main character pulls out his gun and
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And you could play it multiple times because like the main character can't get away.
It's true, yeah.
Oh man. You can make a whole motion picture out of these sound effects.
You could. I'm gonna go with 21 on this one because I think it's more unique than
Oh,
what we've
okay.
heard so far.
Interesting. I'm gonna go with 85. So let's do a tie break.
All right, let's do a tiebreaker. So we're gonna rate them on each one. Well, not each one, but combined on a scale of 1 to 100 as a ratio. And the rule is that you want odds or evens.
I'll go with odds.
All right, so you're on odds. I'm on evens. All right, so our number's got to add up to 100. Here we go. I'm evens. All right, I've made my choice.
All right. So for 85, I put 63.
85 takes it because I only put 60 for 21.
Okay.
There you go. 85's taking it. Raji liked his a little bit more than I liked mine. I should put mine higher, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, again, I like both of them, but I thought, yeah, I do like the horror movie trudging along situation.
True. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right. So 85 takes it by popularity. All right, last one. 48 between 2 and 66. Here's 2. Two's right up there. All right. Ooh, that was crystalline, but very like.
That's like when you start a movie from the 80s and the intro pops up, you know, the
I was
logo.
gonna say that's. I was about to say that. I was just gonna say like Disney, but I know it's not Disney, but similar to that.
Yeah, just like
that's what it reminded me of.
like a DreamWorks or a Pixar
Yeah.
splash logo sound effect.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's got that really hard tail.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, and 66.
It's not bad. It's one we've heard already.
Okay. All right.
But I like the distinct, like the fact that you can hear two very clearly each of the things, whereas 66 is kind of muffled. There's nothing unique. There's
Yeah, it
nothing
is.
specific you can grab out of there.
No, that's true. Yeah, it's like a bunch of different noises.
It's like being in a
Yeah.
submarine and listening to the ambience of the radar going off.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, two flows very smoothly. Yeah, I'm gonna vote for 2.
All right.
All right, 2's got it. So that's our Pokemons for the week. Well, that's it. This is the last time we're gonna see you before Christmas. So I hope you get I hope Santa brings you everything you wanted. And if you don't believe in Santa, then I hope Santa leaves you cold because you should believe in Santa.
I mean, if you don't believe in Santa, then at least believe in Jesus.
That's worse. Bye, everybody. Merry Christmas.